Hi, I'm Alex and welcome back to Dreams of Green. So today we are in early October. It is an absolutely scorching hot spring day. It has just hit, I've brought my trusty thermometer with me, and it's just hit 40 degrees, so just over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're not even anywhere close to being in summer yet. So what I found really interesting is, as I said, just putting this thermometer on the ground close to 40 degrees. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this thermometer around the property with me and just show you the comparison. We're in a bare paddock now in the scorching afternoon sun. I just want to show you what a difference it makes taking this thermometer and putting it under the canopy of, even behind me, these trees are probably 2.5 years old, and just show you what a difference it makes. And then I'll take you across to the creek where it all started and show you the difference. There's some really old rainforest species that are really established, great canopy, and I just want to show you what a difference that canopy makes to surface temperatures on your property. So let's go for a walk in the food forest and let's compare the temperatures. So I'm just walking up the hill, and you can see in the tree rows the effects these acacias are having already in establishing shade in the alleyways. Now, establishing this fast-growing shade is a fantastic way of reducing the effects of evaporation. So if you can create fast-growing shade and windbreaks, that's going to hold so much more moisture in your soil and really help your trees establish. So we'll go now and have a look at just what temperature difference there is now that we've got this established canopy. So you can see in the tree rows we've got some Acacia fimbriata as our pioneer species to establish some quick growing shade, as well as a nitrogen fixing mulch when the trees are pruned. And a reason it's so important to get that fast growing shade when you're establishing tree systems is you want that to be protecting the really tough species that are fast growing, to be protecting your young trees that you're trying to get established. If you imagine, I tried this when we first moved here, trying to get new fruit trees, rainforest trees established in a bare paddock with 40 degrees and no protection. Very, very low success rate, huge failure. But once I got these fast growing pioneers established, the success rate went through the roof. So just having a look at this thermometer, what have we got here? It's dropped to nearly 33 degrees. So it's dropped a good 6 or 7 degrees. And as you can see behind me, the canopy is very sparse. This is not a dense canopy, not a dense rainforest tree. Even with that dappled shade, a 6 or 7 degree difference is huge when you're getting established with your tree systems and trying to reduce the effects of evaporation and trying to nurture those young trees and help them get established. So this is with a sparse canopy. 2.5-year-old seedlings grown from seed. Now we're going to check out under the established canopy down by the creek with these magnificent black beans and Moreton Bay figs. So let's go check that out. And as we wander down to the creek, I'm going to pan this around because it's really interesting seeing the effect slope has on water retention. So you can see this slope behind me is quite dry because it's getting all of that really blazing sun. The sun's still quite low because we're still in spring. Now, if I pan around, you can see this side, which is south sloping, it's still quite green. We've still got a lot of clover on those south facing slopes, and especially in the tree rows, the soil is still really moist. Whereas this back slope that's north facing is really quite dry. So one of the things, because it was my first experiment on this property, one of the things I got wrong was I thought, okay, it's a few degrees warmer. I'm going to try establish some more tropical trees. But I didn't take into consideration, just because it was a few degrees warmer, it was also much drier. So this slope, I do already have the established support trees, which is fantastic. But what I'm going to do is there's a few things that I purchased, things like star fruit, there's a black sapote in there. There's a few more tropical trees that have a much higher water requirement. And because that slope is quite dry, they are not thriving at all. So because our average rainfall here in Kyogle is about 1,000 millimetres per year, we can go down to under 500 in a severe drought or over 2,000 in really flooding conditions. But one of the things I learned is that slope, because it's so much drier, that's going to be brilliant for things like carob, pomegranate, olives, all of those hardy Mediterranean species that are going to do much better there. So because I don't have any irrigation, I really do have to make the most of these microclimates. You can see here too, I'm just walking in the paddock. This gets all the afternoon shade from this really old, if I pan around this way, sorry, this really old, just behind me there, oops, is a beautiful forest red gum. Now that afternoon shade means that all of this area, you can see the pasture, it's still full of, if I can pan down, it's still full of clover, it's lush and green, and that is the effect shade can have on the pasture. So it's absolutely amazing. All right, I'll meet you over at the creek. So I'm here across the road from our property by the creek, and I'm not sure if you can see, the creek is just a mere trickle because we have had a very dry winter and dry spring. But the big difference is I am standing underneath this beautiful native rainforest species, which is a black bean. So the black bean here has a really dense canopy and therefore really cool. It's really cool on a hot summer's day. So when we first moved here and it hit 46 degrees in our paddock, it was really hot. I was beside myself. I came down here and it was a good 15 degrees cooler on that particular day. I couldn't believe it. And if you see behind me as well, there's a really, so just in the background you can see the trunk there. That's an old Moreton Bay fig, and they have a really dense canopy and provide magnificent shade as well. So let's have a look at the thermometer now that we're standing under the canopy of these rainforest trees. And if I look back over the road here, you'll see, I think, how far am I away? Maybe 50 meters away from the paddock. And let's have a look. So it's not like I'm in dense rainforest. I'm right next to cow pasture, and it's still going down. So we're down to 29 degrees underneath the canopy of this tree. So we have an 11-degree difference from the cow paddock in the scorching sun to underneath the canopy of this tree. And this tree, thanks to this black bean, that was the reason I started planting all these trees. So I hope this gives you a bit of an idea of just the effect tree planting can have on the landscape. I get quite disheartened when I see how complicated we're trying to make things with the climate change debate and what we need to do. For me, super low tech. Go stand in your paddock, go stand next to on some concrete or on a road in the middle of the sun, and then go stand under a rainforest tree and have a look at the results for yourself. So thank you so much for watching, and I wish you all the success with your own properties, and I hope you're able to establish trees. And if you've enjoyed this, please subscribe and share it to anyone you think might find it useful, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Bye.